what it is. It's the Outlier B, and we right back got you guys with another podcast. This is another day, man. Wednesday is here. They call it Hump Day. Hopefully, you guys get enough strength to make it through your week. Because if you make it past today, then it's all downhill from here. Meaning, it's only 2 more days left. Thursday and Friday, my people. So how were you guys' night? How did you guys do last night? My night was the same, regular. Y'all know I do. I go to bed early, around 6:30, 7 o'clock in the PM. Then I wake up around 2:30, 3 o'clock in the morning with a break in between that. I usually wake up like around 9, 10 o'clock, get myself something to eat. Then I go back to sleep, my people. What's up? This is the Outlier Podcast. And if you are up at 4:30 in the morning watching this podcast with me, it didn't find you by accident, my people. It can only mean one thing, and that is that you are also an outlier. And how do I define an outlier? An outlier is a person who is of the system, meaning that we was produced by the system. However, we are statistical outliers, my people. Statistical outliers. And if you have ever felt like an outcast, a little bit to society, like some people don't get you, like sometimes your words can be miscrewed, or sometimes you just feel different, then you are in the right place, my people. You are in the right place. And we got a loud and action-packed episode lined up for you guys today, man. We are going to be speaking about a lot. And we got one person in the check-in. Lulu said, hey, bro, what's going on? Lulu, how are you doing today? What do you have lined up for you today? Somebody said, something brought me here. Something brought you here. Yes, sir. We got Jamie Carpenter, 2380, says something brought you here. Yes, something did bring you here. It's the vibes. The vibes brought you here. Somebody said, Op, what up, what up? So again, we got a great episode lined up for you. Yesterday, we spoke about that case that happened back in 1984 with Bernard Goetz. We're going to continue that one up and finally finish that one out. Then we're going to bring up a case that happened out there in Satilla Shores, out there in Georgia, the southern part of the United States. So we're moving from New York City to the southern part of the United States, and we're going to speak about so many aspects of that case. So many aspects of that case. Somebody said, how's your day? We got 2 people that said, how's your day? My day is great so far. My day is great so far. Got up on my way to work now, headed to the train. We are in Freeport, New York. That is a suburb of New York City. We're about 20 to 30 minutes away from Queens and about 45 minutes to an hour away from Manhattan, my people. 45 minutes to an hour away from Manhattan. Yes, sir. So you guys know how I start my day. Start my day speaking about the fragrance of the week. And the fragrance of the week is Vetiver Extraordinaire. Yesterday, we spoke about a few things. We've been comparing vetiver fragrances. The week before, we spoke about gray vetiver. This week is Vetiver Extraordinaire. And next week is going to be Original Vetiver by Creed. And we got somebody else in the check-in said, you sound cute. I'll send you a picture of my face. What's your number? We got somebody in the check-in. Thank you, saying I sound cute. Gracias. Thank you. And they said they're going to send me a picture of their face. We don't do that dating stuff over here, my people. We don't do that dating stuff over here. We try to keep everything business-like. Business-like in that sense, my people. We keep it business-like in that sense. But thank you. So, yeah, we on to it. Vetiver Extraordinaire. This one, I told you guys, is a little bit stronger. It is the more of an original sense of veteran, which can sometimes be very strong, and to some people it can be off-putting. But this one is very creamy, my people, very creamy. And I spoke to you guys about that last week. I think it's important that we mention price point. Morning. So this one is gonna cost you a little bit, man. It's definitely going to cost you a little bit. For a small bottle, a travel size is gonna run you about $90 for that. Bigger sizes, it may run about $250 to $300, depending on the retailer that you get it from. But on my end, I like to go to a scent box, and that is a subscription service where my different subscription, they got different levels of subscription. So on one, you could get one premium fragrance, you can get two premium fragrances, or you can get three. And I get three premium fragrances, my people, three premium fragrances. And that runs me like $76 to $80 a month. But again, you get to try a lot of these scents that cost you a lot for a full bottle. So for a full bottle of some of the things that I wear, it may cost you like $300, some of them even $400. And these things are so cool because you can test them out. And when you test them out, you can see if it's worth a full bottle purchase. And if you got that type of money to be spending on a cologne, more power to you. But for me, this is just a better way to air it out. Somebody said, somebody on the check-in said, shut idiot. Somebody else said, you sound like Denzel Washington. Thank you, thank you. A lot of people say that I sound like Denzel Washington. I've been going live every day, besides for Saturday and Sunday, this whole year. And every podcast, somebody come up and say I sound like Denzel Washington. At first, I was like, man, this is the first time I'm hearing that. But I'm not gonna argue with the people. I will not argue with the people. If you guys say I sound like Denzel, shout out to you. Shout out to you. Somebody said, guess what, fam? What up, what up, what up? What should I guess? Somebody says, ask me, where you going? Somebody said, where am I? I'm going to work. I'm on my way to the train station. I got to catch a 5 a.m. train from Long Island going into Queens. So I hope that answered both of you guys' question. I'm going to the train station for work. And also, I am in Freeport, Long Island. That is Nassau County. It's a suburb of New York City. Again, we're about 20 to 30 minutes away from Queens. And we're also about 45 minutes to an hour away from Manhattan, my people. And we got 20 people in that check-in. Hit that like button, y'all. Hit that like button, man, if this is something that you're into. This is something that you're into. Now, let's get back into that Bernard Goetz case. Somebody said bumperclot. Y'all funny, man. Somebody else said, God bless you, my friend. Grind it out. Thank you, thank you, thank you. God bless you, too. God bless you, too. Somebody said, be safe, sir. Thank you, thank you. I will try to be safe. But that's outside of my hands, man. Outside of my hands. And before we get into this Bernard Goetz case, listen, I want everybody in the check-in, man. If you are around 35, around that age group, man, trust me, yo, get tested for cancer. Get tested for cancer. Me, I'm a 45-year-old man. I got all my tests. When I turned 40, for men, that's our prostate. You got to get your prostate checked. I know it may be weird. It may feel weird when people do it, but at the same time, it could definitely save your life. And also for women, at 35, y'all, trust me, trust me, trust me. Go get your screenings, man. Get your screenings for cancer. Let them, go to your GYN, get your breast checked, because these things are very, very, very important, yo. Very important, man. You do not want something to happen and your body change and you not be on top of it, man. Trust me. Just trust me. At my age, I've seen too many good people lose their life to things like this, where if you was just on top of it, you definitely could have prevented something catastrophic from happening, my people, But now let's get back into this Bernard Goetz. If you guys been following me the whole week, then Bernard Goetz was a guy from New York City. He was on the train back in 1984. Some guy approached him, asked him for $5. According to the people who got shot, they say they asked him for $5. But Bernard Goetz said that they was trying to rob him. And he's a guy who has been robbed before, so he shot these guys. Shot him. He may have been excessive to some people, but they took him to court for attempted murder. And he beat those charges. He beat those charges. The only thing he went to jail for was having an unregistered and unlicensed weapon. And a year after that, he went to civil court and he lost. He lost the civil trial. Somebody said, this is not live. It's live, homie, it's live. Yeah, so he went to trial and he lost the civil trial because they say that he went a little bit overboard. Now, this gets into interesting things out here in New York, my people. Talk about New York. New York has some of the most strictest gun laws, you know? And I look at that. And this is like a two-pronged answer because everyone, you know, obtains the right to protect themselves. And I am not against guns. I believe that, you know, you shouldn't necessarily have to depend on the police all the time. Everyone has the right to protect themselves, most definitely. But at the same time, in a place like New York, where we have millions of people, I think the unofficial number is between 9 and 11 million people living out here in New York City. So if you're walking on the streets, there's a very good chance that you're going to be crowded and around a whole bunch of people. We are a city that depends heavily on public transportation. So looking at those types of things, you do not want the average American walking around with a gun that can actually pull it out and kill somebody. Because in these types of situations, imagine somebody pulling a gun out on a train. And you don't know who's good, the good guy. You don't know who, the person that's trying to rob the other person. You don't know any of this, yo. So it could be a situation where you got 10, 11 people on the train or on a crowded New York street just shooting at each other. And that could create way more issues than it would in another place, you know? So how do I feel about the Bernard Goetz case? This is how I feel, my people. This is how I feel. I feel like he had a right to defend himself. So I think that he should have gotten off on the attempted murder charge because he feared for his life. I believe that any reasonable person in that same situation would fear for their life, especially looking at the situation that New York was facing in the 80s. So I believe that. But at the same time, I do think he was excessive. You know, one of the people were on the floor and he shot the person again and said, oh, you don't look so tough now. Then in his interviews after the shooting, he was saying that he wished he had more bullets so that he could have killed them. So, you know, it's just a nuanced case. So we got somebody in the check-in, sounds like here in Hawaii, super strict. He said in Hawaii, it is super strict. I hear that, man. Hawaii is definitely one of those places I've never been, but I do want to go to Hawaii. I hear that it's very expensive out there. Very, very, very expensive. We got somebody in here said, you're not trying to interrupt. Can I sample your voice, what you saying for my beat I'm making? Sure, you can do that. Fill up blunts. Just don't have me out here saying nothing crazy. Just don't have me out here saying anything crazy. And if you do sample my voice, you can send it to me, man. My email is intheloopradio2000@gmail.com. Again, that is intheloopradio@gmail.com. So once you make that track, send it to me, my brother. Send it to me. Yes, sir. Right? So now we're going to move down south to Georgia, to Satilla Shores. And I don't know how many of you guys were following this case, but this was a very, very, very interesting one. And this goes back to about 2009. And it involves a guy named Ahmaud Arbery. We're not going to get deep into this one yet. You guys got to come back tomorrow, and I will definitely explain it more. But this one's a very, very interesting case. And I hope you guys can remember back to that Ahmaud Arbery case. This was a kid who the media said was just jogging. They called Ahmaud Arbery a jogger. And we saw the ending of the video where he was jogging. We didn't see the chase, but we saw him jogging up to a guy who was holding a shotgun. And when he ran up on the shotgun, they say that he attempted to take that shotgun away from that man, who was Travis McMichael, and he got shot, and they took his life. Took his life. Somebody said, you know what you did. Somebody said, you know what you did. I ain't do nothing, man. I'm just on my way to work. Somebody said, I'm sure if you paid him, he wouldn't care. They said, if you talking about the beat. Listen, man, I'm an artist too. I'm an artist too. You know, I do a lot of editing. I like to write. Also, I'm from the hip hop world. So if any one of you wants to use my voice for a beat, listen, I'm just happy to be a part of the culture. Happy to be a part of the culture. And I do not want to hinder anyone's creative abilities. So go ahead, brother. Go ahead. Just send it to me. And again, make sure you don't got me out here saying nothing crazy. Somebody said New York is more expensive than Hawaii. It's not that bad here. Really? Really? So they've been lying to me, man. They've been lying to me. But New York is definitely expensive, man. You know, I was paying what? $2,800, $2,750 for a studio apartment out here in Rockville Center, New York. $2,700 for a studio. It wasn't even a one bedroom, it was a studio, my people. Somebody else on the check-in said, if you ran up on somebody with a shotgun and try to take it, you're gonna get killed. All right. Sonny said, if you run up on somebody with a shotgun and try to take it, you're gonna get killed. I hear that. Somebody said, word, Joe. Shout out from Buffalo. My man, Buffalo, Phillip Blunts, straight from Buffalo. What up? Shout out to my people in Buffalo. Shout out to everybody in Buffalo. Yeah. So the first part I'm just gonna speak about on this case is this. The media lied to y'all, my people. The media lied to y'all. And I feel sorry because these are some of my Black Lives Matter people who came up with that story. And we're just gonna touch up this part. My boy Ahmaud Arbery, who, rest in peace, he lost his life. He was far from just a jogger, my people. He was far from just a jogger. Satilla Shores is an upscale neighborhood where the people who lived there had a lot of money. They were a neighborhood that was tight-knit. These guys had a Facebook group where they were looking at a bunch of cases where people were breaking into the homes out there. There was a lot of people breaking into the homes. The homeowner of that place that they found Ahmaud Arbery in that day, they have Ahmaud on camera, I believe it was 3 or 4 different times being in that structure of the house, which was they was actually doing work to it, and it was an open structure. They had a no trespassing, well, they actually didn't have a no trespassing sign up, and they had him on camera. And also the homeowner, he set up a camera because boating equipment went missing from that same house on a few occasions. So I love Black Lives Matter, you know, to a certain extent. I'm not gonna say it like that, but I understand where it was coming from. But at the same time, they lied to us, man. They lied to us, and the media ran with that story. There was way more to it. There were so many different people going into and entering that same home, and it wasn't just Ahmaud Arbery. There was mad people going in there. And the neighborhood on the whole was basically being taken hostage by a bunch of people that didn't live in the neighborhood. They was going in there taking stuff. There were, things missing from homes. So the people were on high alert. And to another certain extent, Travis McMichael, the guy who wound up shooting Ahmaud, he had an intimate history with Ahmaud Arbery. On one day, when Ahmaud was in the house, he saw him. He seen Ahmaud Arbery in the house. They actually called the police, and the police came. But at first, Travis tried to approach him. And when he approached him, they say that Ahmaud Arbery flashed a gun. Now, I don't know. I'm not going to, agree with this or not. I don't know. But they say that Ahmaud flashed a gun. He saw something silver in Ahmaud Arbery's waistband, and then they say he ran into the house. So Travis ran into his car and called the police. And if you want, you guys can hear that whole police interaction for that whole situation. But I'm over here at the 7-Eleven. Y'all know that this is my time to make my coffee, my people. If you want to know the rest of this story and how it unfolds, you guys are going to have to come back tomorrow. You guys are going to have to come back tomorrow. But I am going to read some of the comments before we get up out of here. Somebody said, you trying to justify that shooting is crazy. No, not profane personality. I'm not trying to justify it. I'm just giving you guys a little context of what's going to happen before we get even deeper, into the citizens arrest law. We're going to get into how sometimes I feel that people with guns, they behave differently than they would behave if they didn't have a gun. Somebody else on the check-in said, yeah, I'm sure there's way more to the story. You just don't walk up on somebody and try to take their shotgun. I hear that. Somebody said, I pay $1,200 a month for a little 1-bedroom apartment in Cali. Yeah, I hear that California is also very, very, very expensive. I did a little bit of research on California versus New York with these apartment prices. And from what I hear, they say like downtown LA is very expensive also. And like in New York, that's you're gonna get most of those prices that you probably get in downtown Los Angeles. But in Manhattan, the prices is just even more extravagant. You know, I'm a little bit outside of the city in Rockville Center, and it's still very expensive out here, man. You know, we talking 2,800 for a studio. That's crazy. Somebody said you're gonna miss your train. My boy Kevin in the check-in. I gotta make you a mod, Kev. I ain't gonna miss it. The train right there. You feel me? I got 9 minutes, so I'm good. Somebody said, you're right. You're right. You're speaking facts about the case. Yes, sir. That's somebody who's been following the case. They know what I'm speaking about. Thank you for confirming that. Somebody asked me, is this Denzel Washington? Nope, nope, nope. This is not Denzel Washington. This is the outlier B. Somebody said, bro, enjoy your coffee. Thank you. Thank you. Somebody said, it is expensive for no reason. You're 100% correct. It is definitely expensive for no reason. I was spending all that money for 18 months, and I left the apartment with nothing, with absolutely nothing. That's just money down the drain, money down the drain to being like a, you know, it was nice. Don't get me wrong. Very, very nice. But at the same time, I don't believe it was worth it. 2,800 for a studio. Somebody said, no, Denzel has a little deeper voice. All right. He said, Denzel got a deeper voice than me. Somebody else on the check-in said, nice, 4-bedroom, 3-bathroom, newly built home, $3K a month. Damn, proud black man. Where you at, proud black man? I need to go there. 4 bedrooms, 3-bathroom, newly built for $3K a month. That sound like a deal. Somebody said King Kong ain't got SHIT on me. Nah, this is Denzel. You funny. Somebody said, what city you in now? I am in Freeport, New York. Freeport, Long Island. Freeport is also expensive. Freeport is also very expensive. My boy Sonny D laughing. Somebody said, yo, for real. Somebody said, yo, for real, live? Yeah, I'm real. I'm real and I'm live. I'm live. Somebody said, don't worry about it. Can't take it with you. He's right. Mr. Griffin is 100% right. But I'm out here, man. Let me go make my coffee. I love you guys for checking in. This is the Outlier Podcast. I am your boy, B the Outlier. If you up at this time listening to me, you guys are also outliers. And we got one more. Kim Brew Sells said it's expensive in New York. Yes, it is expensive in New York. But we up out here, man. Thank you, cats, for checking in. Peace out, man. I love y'all. Yeah.